Hi everyone and welcome to Name Hero. In this video tutorial, I want to talk about what to do if your WordPress website is hacked and how to clean it up. So on your screen right now is our high-speed cloud WordPress web hosting packages. You can see we've marked each package with about an estimated monthly visitors, so it allows you to easily pick the package that is best for your business. I would say that 95% of our customers start off with a starter cloud, and then they kind of move up as their website grows. The other 5% of our customers that have more established business, or maybe even a little more than that, they know exactly about how many monthly visitors they're getting, so they choose the package appropriately. Now, I've said this many times throughout our YouTube channel and in my tutorials. If you're doing more than 100,000 visits a month, we, of course, still have a package for you. You can click on our VPS hosting, and you can handle as many visitors as you need. Even if you need to handle millions of visitors a day, just reach out to us. We've got a solution for you. The great thing about Name Hero, since we are a cloud web host, our hosting is scalable in terms of resources, disk space, RAM, CPU cores, and processing power. We can move all this up on the fly for you. So just rest assured when you're choosing a WordPress hosting plan with us here at Name Hero that you have options as your business grows. So with that said, I want to first mention our free and complimentary WordPress malware scanning that we do each night. Each night, our system runs a malware scanner, and if it detects any type of malware or files on your WordPress that should not be there, perhaps were put there by an evildoer, then we will manually review that automated scan each night. And then we remove those files, and we kind of have to manually do it, but it's automated in your terms that you don't have to touch it. So if we come across a malicious file in your account, it will simply be removed and quarantined, and that way your WordPress stays safe and secure. So by doing this proactive security scanning, we've seen great success with customers over the years that stay hack-free for the most part. They don't run into these type of issues. However, there are those customers that don't keep things updated, don't keep WordPress updated, don't update their themes, don't update their plugins, and they get a hacking attempt so bad that they actually have to rebuild their cPanel account. So in this video, I want to talk about how you go about doing that. So the first thing is, once you're a customer, again, we're going to do these scans nightly. If we detect a problem, we'll send you a message, let you know. The file's automatically going to be removed anyways. But if your site's sending out spam, which is a common theme for these type of hackers, I guess it's important to note, when someone tries to hack your WordPress, we need to describe what hack is, because hack can be a very broad term. So when an attacker wants to exploit your WordPress, everyone has a goal. So their goal could be to take down your website. Maybe it's a competitor or someone that just doesn't like what your website's about, so they try to take down your site. That's one attack, but that's rather uncommon. We don't see a whole lot of that nowadays. The second type of attempt is to send spam. So if you go into your email right now and you open up your spam, junk, or bulk folder, you're going to notice a bunch of crap, pretty much, like Viagra spam or dating site spam, spam for products that you don't want or even need. And you wonder, well, how do they even send that? Well, one, it's not legal. So they can't legally buy a hosting package, at least in the United States, and send out their spam messages. That's against the law. They'll actually get in federal trouble. Not state, but actually the federal level will get them in trouble if they do that. So instead, hackers will try to find WordPress websites specifically, because since WordPress is free and open source, they can download the source code right on WordPress.org, and they can find areas of vulnerabilities to where they can inject malware onto your site to where they can actually take control of the whole account. And so this is why we say so often that it's so important that you keep your website updated, because as WordPress comes across these security holes, they release patches. So since it's an ongoing project, WordPress is never developed fully because it's an ongoing project. It's a work in progress, right? WordPress is different today than it was yesterday, and then tomorrow will be different than today, because since it's open source, the project is continually evolving. So as these vulnerabilities come up, as these threats are detected, or areas of vulnerability, or areas that WordPress can be penetrated, the development team looks at them and they say, oh, well, we can fix that, and they release fixes. And so that's why it's important to always update your WordPress. The same goes to your plugin and themes. If you use a plugin like Revolution Slider, it's a really popular slider that displays your graphics on your site. Since this is so popular, a lot of hackers will actually download this software and they'll look for vulnerabilities in the Revolution Slider. How can we inject our malware? How can we gain access to someone's WordPress website? And so that's another very common thing we see at Name Hero, how people get their WordPress hacked is they don't keep Revolution Slider updated. Just like the WordPress updating, the Revolution Slider, they have a security team and they're constantly developing their project. As these vulnerabilities come up, they patch them, they stop it. And the same with themes. If you have a well-known theme that maybe you've bought on Theme Forest, or maybe you're using a WordPress theme that's built in WordPress, all of these are areas of vulnerabilities for you that if not kept updated, then your website is vulnerable to getting attacked. So obviously the first line of defense is keeping the WordPress site updated, your plugins updated, and your themes updated. And that's something we do lots of tutorials on here at Name Hero. I do a lot of blog posts on this. And so along with doing that in our nightly malware scans, most of our customers are fine. I would say 99% of them have never run into an issue. But it's that small 1% that doesn't keep things updated where they run into trouble. So you can search our blog, and here's some helpful posts right off the bat that you can just type these in the search box here. 6 tips to keep your WordPress website safe and secure in 2017 or now 2018. But you can see I made a post here that talks about using strong admin credentials, updating everything. I'm always going to say that. Don't install poorly coded themes or plugins. If the developer doesn't have a lot of reviews or good reviews, don't use them. Install a good WordPress security plugin. I'll talk more about that in a second. Use secure connections, HTTPS. We have free and automatic SSL at Name Hero, so really no reason why you're not using that. Keep a nice backup of your site. Of course, we back up your site each night automatically, but you should be keeping your own backups, and I'll talk about that too here in a second. So those are 6 big tips. Let's close off of there and talk about securing your admin area. So in our blog post I did last year, it talks about using a website application firewall, and you can see we have Cloudflare, and there's another one here. Password protect your admin area. Use strong passwords. You keep going back to the same things, right? And it's kind of no-brainers, but it's something that a lot of people still don't do. Implement 2-factor authentication. That's important. Limit your login attempts. Limit the IP addresses that go to your admin area. Require strong passwords for everyone. Reset passwords for all users. Always keep WordPress updated. Again, here's the updates. Log out idle WordPress workers. So again, some more good tips to be proactive. Now, we talked about a security plugin. The Name Hero team, we always recommend to people that have been hacked, please download a plugin that's a security plugin. We recommend WordFence. And last month here, I did a tutorial on how to secure WordPress using WordFence. And I go through the nitty gritty of it on how to install this. And the good thing is they have a free version and a premium version. But you can see their free version listed here on the right. It covers most everything you need. So most of our customers, they find plenty of success with just the free version. Most of them don't need these premium features. We did have a customer recently ask, how can I block all countries but the United States? Well, you can use their premium version of WordFence and it will let you do that. But here, this tutorial will walk you through how to install this. So if you don't have this on your site yet, please do this. So keeping them updated, strong passwords, using WordFence, that's really going to keep your website safe and secure so you don't run into malware in the first place. Finally, let's talk about backups. I have a whole backup tutorial on the blog as well on the backups that we actually conduct complimentary for you. But there's a service out there called ManageWP, managewp.com. And this is a great service because they actually have a free version. And the free version will actually let you keep, I believe it's 1 backup a month. So if you're not going to do anything else, if you're not going to keep backups daily, which I would recommend on your computer, but if you're not going to do that or do anything else, at least sign up with ManageWP to use their automated backup. So at least you have this version to fall back on has anything else fails. So if our backups don't do the job, at least you have this to kind of take control. So you can do this tutorial as well. So WordFence and ManageWP are 2 I highly recommend. ManageWP will also help you keep your plugins and themes updated, and WordFence will actually email you when those go out of date. So those plugins alone can save you a lot of trouble. So now let's talk about if that's not an option, and now maybe you've already been hacked and you're watching this, and I'm actually filming this tutorial so I can give this tutorial to customers that have been hacked so you can kind of learn a little bit more about what happened so you're not so angry at us thinking that we caused this, so you can understand why it happens and how you fix it and all that good stuff. So if you have been hacked, we will send you a ticket and say, hey, your WordPress has been compromised. We've scanned it for malware. We've removed the files, but your WordPress still needs to be fixed. It needs to be updated. It needs to be cleaned. So in Name Hero, we will do a cleaning service for you. We charge our hourly admin rate. It's a $75 per hour fee, and our admins will actually go through the tutorial I'm about to tell you right now that you can do on your own. So if you say, well, nope, Ryan, I'm not paying, I want to do it myself, then you can follow this tutorial. If you want to say, Ryan, I don't want you guys to do it. I don't want Name Hero to do it. I don't want to do it myself, but I still need someone else to do it for me. There are services out there, and this is wpsitecare.com. There's many services out there that offer this, but this is one that we know, and I know it's successful. You can click on their pricing here, and you can see they've got monthly packages that will actually, these people will actually back up your site, update WordPress for you, monitor your site, and they will also clean up hacking attempts, see 24 security monitoring and hack cleanups. So their plans will do that for you, and they actually will help you even develop your WordPress. So there's many other services just like WP Site Care, but it's one that I just want to recommend. If you don't want us doing it, that's not an option. If if yourself you don't want to do it, then you can go to a third party to do that for you, to clean it up. So you have many options, which is a good thing. But let me go through the process that our team would actually get into if your site had been hacked. So right now I'm in the admin dashboard of a WordPress website. Now, if your website has been hacked, it could be possible that you cannot even access this. So it really just depends on the severity of the hack. Since we scan the accounts nightly and remove malware as it comes about, if it does, which again is normally a rare occurrence, especially if you've have everything updated, a lot of times you'll catch it before it gets too crazy. You'll be able to say, okay, well, I know I didn't keep things updated. Name Hero just notified me there's malware. They've removed it. Now I'll update everything and then I'm good. That happens a lot. But there is these cases where people have went so long without updating their site, or they've migrated over from another web host that didn't do the nightly malware scans, which we also see quite often. And they're moving over, and then they have this malware that came along with the move. Because remember, when you move your website to Name Hero, if you're using cPanel, we take an exact clone, a copy of your current cPanel, and bring it over. And so if you have any malicious files in that cPanel, they're going to come along with the site. Of course, our malware scanner still scans it, but if you've had this malware for a long period of time, it's likely that it might not even get picked up. So it just depends. We see things all over the spectrum here at Name Hero. So if you can access your dashboard, continue following along, and then I'll get into a little bit more about the files and folder they gain access to. So if you can, try to install the WordFence security plugin. And it's going to ask you to send alerts here. But do a scan with this. And you can go over here and click scan. And next, it's giving me the tour here. So I can actually just go to scan. Zoom in. It still wants me to install since I didn't get it here. So let's just go Ryan at namehero.com and continue. And we don't want to activate premium. Okay, now let's see if we can scan it now. Start a new scan. So if you can get to your admin area and install WordFence, it's worth running a scan to see if you can figure out if this will clean it up. So this is going to scan all of your files, all of your directories, and let you know if there is something going on inside of here or something that we have not removed. Okay, so as that runs, let me walk you through the file manager and also talk about some stuff you need to do. So here's my client area for keydiets.com. And if you're following along, you can get here by going to Account, log in, and then navigate to your hosting package. So this one here is for keydiets.com, and I want to go to cPanel. So I'm going to click Log into cPanel under Actions. And now I want to go into File Manager. Now, this is the whole directory structure of this specific account. So a lot of times you can look at the last modified date, and it's going to let you know files or directory that's been added to your account that could be from a malicious person, especially if your site's been hacked. So like we see in .cPanel today, I can look. It looks to me like these are legitimate requests, like the emails, email accounts JSON, email accounts count, stuff like that. That's probably okay. A lot of times they get into your public HTML, so I'm going to go to www and inject in certain directories. Now you can see yesterday in WP content, And we can see a couple of these directories were modified yesterday. So if you didn't run an update, then maybe they're in here. This directory is empty, so not that. Plugins, I look, and I'm looking for yesterday, Lightspeed Cache. Yesterday, oh, okay, it looks like an update. So you can kind of tell by these date stamps that if someone has been into your install. When they inject this malware and they get into a plugin or get into your WordPress core, sometimes they're able to get full access to all the files and folder in your cPanel. So that's what's so dangerous about a cPanel attack, is they can gain access to all of your files. And this also includes your emails that are on the cPanel. So depending on the severity of the case, it could be that your whole cPanel is infected or compromised. So there's a process we have to go through, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's kind of a pain in the ass to get through this. And so this is why we tell customers, well, if you don't want to do it, we will do it for you, but there has to be a fee, because it does involve quite a bit of manual work. And that's why we also refer to other services, because if you don't want to use us, don't want to do it yourself, then it still has to be done for the site to be able to get back online and function healthily and be a healthy functioning website. So kind of tracking down the directory they got in will a lot of times let you know where they got in the first place. And since we do these proactive scans, a lot of times we'll catch them before they're able to infect the whole account. So it's most of the time we catch them, they're just in one directory or in one file. So we can eliminate that directory or file, update it, and then we're good. So most of the time we do catch it, but sometimes they're able to gain access to the whole account and we have to rebuild the account from scratch. We'll talk about that at the end though. If I go back over into my scan, you can see this is still, this is finished. So this checked everything: server state, file changes, malware, content safety, public files, password strength, vulnerability scan, and options. No results, so no issues. So we are good here. So you can see if there was issues, they would come up here. And they actually have a service here. WordDefense has a service too where they will clean it for you. And you can see, I don't know how much this is. So $179 is their fee. Most of the time, our $75 an hour fee, most of the time our techs can do this in 1 or 2 hours. So we are cheaper for some services, but some services we're not. That's why we give you that option. So you can see that's good that WordDefense actually has a service as well. So there is places you can go. So you can see that if you were to have results in here, you could actually delete the detectable files, and you can also run their repair as well. So you have some options inside of WordPress. So running that scan does help. I want to show you next, though, how to replace the core WordPress files. So maybe WordPress, it's always good if you do get hacked to go ahead and put clean WordPress files up on your site. So if we go to our file manager, we can see WordPress lives in WP admin, WP content, WP includes, as well as these root files here. So a lot of times it's just best to go ahead and replace them all. So if I go to wordpress.org, I can download WordPress. Now, if you've used the app installer to install WordPress automatically, you're going to want to do this manually. So you just do a manual cleanup. So I'm just going to download WordPress here. Next, I want to go into my cPanel, and I want to create a nice, fresh, clean FTP account. So I'm just going to type in FTP accounts, and I want to create one. As I create one, I'm going to paste the information into my FTP program. So I'm going to do this in another window, but I'm going to drag it over here so you can see. Just drag it over here. So this is FileZilla. You can go to FileZilla.com. It's a 100% free FTP program. So this is, you don't want to pay for stuff, right? So download FileZilla for free, and you can use it to FTP. So I'm going to go ahead and create the account I'm going to be using. So I'm just going to call it Ryan at Key Diets. Password, I want to use a password generator and get a nice strong password, which you should as well. Copy this. You want to give it access to everything, so delete that. You can leave it unlimited and create account. So now I'm going to type that information in here. Ryan at keydiets.com, put my password. And I'll show you the settings here. Let's see. V21. And my host name is this. Copy and paste. So let me bring FileZilla back over here so you can see what I just copied. So, oh wait, Ryan already exists. Let's do Ryan 1. Sorry about that. Let's bring it over here. So here's my settings in FileZilla. So Ryan 1 keydiets.com is the username. The host is thomas.uswebhost.com. I could use ftp.keydiets.com. It doesn't matter. My password's my password, porch 21. Click Quick Connect, and now I'm in. And it looks like I didn't give myself proper access. I think that's where we did not. So we have to recreate it. I didn't delete that out. Just 1 second here. Let's do this again. Ryan1. I'm going to do a password, a secure one. Copy it. Say you've copied it, and make sure you delete this directory here, because if you don't, you're going to get what just happened to me. So let's disconnect and paste the new password. So we'll try this. Try this from the top and quick connect. Okay, so now we can see all of our directory structure. So let's go to www, and let me give you this too really quick. Before you go doing this, it's always good to take an additional backup. So let's go to Name Hero, go to cPanel, click on Backup, download a full website backup, generate backup. Always best to take a backup before you start overwriting files. Even though you're hacked, even though you have malware problems, you want a backup of the last working version or the last version of your site just so you have it. Yes, if your site was included in the nightly backups, no more than 100,000 inodes or bigger than 20 gigabytes, we have a backup. But just in case, have your own backup. And you should also be using Managed WP or another service so you have multiple backups. You can never have enough. But you want to make sure that this you do have it. So you can see it's available for download. And I'll show you this in FileZilla. So we can go back up to the top here. And you can see, let me hit the refresh. There's the backup file. So I could download that to my computer if needed, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. I'm just going to leave it here in the home directory. So I'm going to go to where WordPress is, which is in my public HTML. And in the left side is where I just downloaded WordPress. This is the file I just downloaded from WP or WordPress.org. So this side of my screen is my computer, and the right side is my hosting account. And you can see how these directories correlate. So what I want to do is take all these files and folders. I'm going to hold down Shift and select them all. Then I'm just going to drag them over here and release. And it's going to ask me what I want to do. Do I want to overwrite sources newer, overwrite different size, overwrite different size or source newer? I want to overwrite, and I just want to do it for this queue here. So I'm just going to put, always use action to this queue only. Okay. And now it's going to replace my current WordPress core files with new ones. So this is very important to do if your site has been compromised, to put clean files in. And this is, again, one of the things that is your starting point. So we're going to let this run just for a little bit. And I'm going to pause this video while it runs, and then I'll resume and I'll teach you the next steps. Okay, now the files have completed uploading and I've got fresh files. So now, since I have fresh WordPress files, I've ran the WordFence firewall. Obviously, if you're at Name Hero, we've ran our malware scanner and I've removed that. So now it's time to do some password changing. So let me just minimize this window. And let's start by changing the cPanel password. So we'll go back to the cPanel homepage, go to password and security, and we've got to modify our old password and put our new password inside of here. So this is, you want to enter your old password to cPanel, get your new password, and change it. So what you want to do is click this password generator and make sure you use one of these. It's very, very tough to guess. And make sure you write this down somewhere. Now, of course, our admin team can reset it for you, but copy this in a notepad or put it somewhere, but make it strong. You can go into advanced options here and you can make sure it includes both, and really generate something really good, because that's, you have to remember, if you think they're inside of, or if you know of an attack, you just have to assume that everything else is compromised in the account. So you want to start by changing your password. Start by cPanel. After you do that, you want to go to email, and we go to email accounts, and you want to go over to here and you want to start resetting these passwords. So after you reset the main cPanel, then go to password here under each email account, generate, make sure it's strong, and go through each email account until they're all changed. Next, you want to do the FTP account. So we'll go here, we'll type in FTP accounts. And you'll notice we've got several in this account for Drop My Sites, and we have some custom ones we've set up. Click Change Password, change every one of these, or if you're not using one, just go ahead and delete it. And the same for the email. If you have email accounts, maybe you created one for an employee that's no longer there. Maybe you created one and you don't use it. Delete stuff you don't need, but change the passwords to the ones that you use. Very, very important that you do not miss this step. You have to assume they have every password if they're in. And then next, you want to go into your WordPress admin. You want to go to Settings, General, and go down here. I'm sorry, it's in your profile. Let's click here. Howdy, Ryan. Edit my profile. And go down here and change your password as well. So if it's logged in somewhere else, it's going to tell you, but generate a new secure password and go down here and click on Update Profile. So you want to make sure that you change this. Once again, use this generator, make it secure, copy this down somewhere. If you're using a weak password, do not, and I repeat, do not set this to just a word like password or something, because they'll come back. Make it very, very strong and copy it down. So it's important to change all of your passwords. If you have multiple WordPress users, change them all. You can go to all users. We'll leave this page. You can see I just have this one account here, but if you have multiple users, make sure you change them all. Yes, it's a pain in the butt, but at what cost? Them coming back. Go over to plugins, click installed plugins. Make sure all of these are updated. You can see I'm not seeing any that say update, so I'm going to assume that I'm good, but if you need to, please update them. If there was if the malware was injected into a specific plugin, which our team can tell you from the malware scan, you might want to manually reinstall the plugin, meaning delete the whole plugin together and manually reinstall it, or just click delete here. You first deactivate it, then delete it, and then re-add it, because that'll clean out all the files. The same goes to your themes, appearance and themes. If any of these have an update, make sure you install it. If you have to manually update it, then manually update it. You can find information on our blog and our YouTube channel about how to manually install or update a theme. So you want to make sure all of that is updated. The core files have been replaced, all your passwords have been changed, your WordPress passwords have been changed, your plugins are updated, and your themes are updated. Because if that's not done, if any one of those is missed, then it's likely that they will come back. And a lot of times they come back even stronger. So that will begin the process of cleaning up your site. So now, once all that's done, we're still not finished. We have to change the database stuff. So I'm going to go back to File Manager here, and I want to go to WP Config, click on Edit, click Edit again, and you're going to notice in this file, you have the database name, the database user, the database password. So what you want to do is go back to cPanel, go back to the main page of it, type in MySQL databases, and you want to go over here to this user and change the password. Once again, if you have, look, this is a user I'm not using, so if you have users you're not even using, delete them, delete user, go back. This user here, I want to change password generator, use a strong one, copy it, I've copied it in a safe place, change it, okay, and then I have to change it in my WP config, because if not, my site won't work. Click paste and save. You can go back to your WordPress site and make sure everything loads fine, which it does. So once all that is done, once all of those steps are completed, you're well on your way to having a safe and secure WordPress website. So if you, again, WordFence should have been installed by now. You want to make sure that you're allowing WordFence to automatically run each day, and that you have an email address on file so they can email you if a problem arises. Now, we have seen cases where customers do all of this and they still have a hacked website. They still have malware. So let's go back to our file manager and talk about this. So remember, we replaced all the core WordPress files here. Now, if you have subdomains, so this account here, we can go here, click subdomains. Click subdomains. And you can see we've got a new.keydiets.com. That we originally set that up for a staging area. So that means there's another install of WordPress on our cPanel account. So if we go into new.keydiets.com, we're going to see that it's gone. We've removed it. But if there is another install of WordPress, you have to do everything I said to each subdomain with WordPress in it. And this is the main reason why we tell people if you're going to have multiple WordPress installations, get a reseller account where you can have an own cPanel for that specific WordPress installation, because it's safer. Because if they get into your one WordPress, they can get into all of them. And so that's the really scary thing about using add-on domains and stuff like that. Now, if you keep things updated, you won't have to worry about that. So now that we can see we're not using the subdomain, we're just going to remove it. Remember, remove stuff that you are not using. Databases, database users, email address, add-on domains, anything that you're not using, remove it. Because it's just sitting there, putting your whole site at risk. So anything you're not using, FTP accounts, email accounts, SQL databases, remove them. So let's go back to File Manager. Now, so that takes care of that, but you can see there's all these other folders that operate cPanel. Now, you don't want to go deleting these because you'll mess up your whole site. You'll mess up where cPanel can't function and the whole site will crash. So you don't want to just go deleting these files and folders. If you continue to have attacks on your site, it's likely the attacker has infested one of these core folders. If that is the case, the only other option you have is to actually wipe the cPanel account out and rebuild it from the start. And so if you're a reseller, you can do this by just deleting the account and recreating it. If you're not a reseller and you just have our basic cloud hosting here, you actually have to have our team delete it for you and then restore it. Now, when you rebuild it, you obviously don't want to upload your old files because it's going to bring the stuff right back. You have to do it piece by piece. You have to start with new WordPress files, new theme files, new plugin files, and really rebuild everything from scratch. This is the last resort effort. I haven't personally seen this a whole lot at Name Hero. Over the last 3 years of being in business, I've probably seen it about 5 or 6 times where we've had an account that's so infested, we have to say, listen, the only solution for you is to delete everything and start fresh. And this is why updates, malware scanners, WordFence, strong passwords is so important. Because especially if you have a large website, that is quite the task to rebuild your cPanel from scratch. And once again, our team will do it for you. It's a $75 an hour admin fee, and I don't say that lightly. I say that because of the amount of work that's involved. But if you want us to, we will rebuild the cPanel for you, but we have to charge that fee. If we're rebuilding from scratch, it's a large site, you could be looking at 4, 5, 6, 7 hours of admin time in there. So it could get very costly, very quick if that has to be done. Now, I know some of the services, like we mentioned, WP Site Care, they'll actually download your whole home directory. They'll download all of this and go through it line by line. So there is, and if you ask our support team, they can always recommend someone that will do that. I know a guy off the top of my head that does do that as well. And I think he starts about $200 and then goes on up depending on the size of your account. So if you don't want to do it yourself, you don't want Name Hero to do it, then there is third-party services to do that. So that's your options. But most of the time, you can get it fixed by replacing the core files, changing all your passwords, deleting unneeded stuff, and doing that stuff. Most of the time, that does fix it. But again, the last-ditch effort would be to remove everything and start with a nice, clean cPanel. So the best thing you can do is try to avoid it altogether by just updating your site, by using WordFence and having it alert you when something's out of date. But if it comes into the issue to where it's so badly infested, then starting over may be your only option. So I hope you don't get there. But if you do, we are here at Name Hero to help you get through that. But the reason for that is when these attackers get into all these subfolders and even some of these core files here and start injecting their malware into stuff like that, and you can really have some problems. I also mentioned about the backup. You don't want to leave these full backups on your cPanel because they contain database files and passwords and stuff. So you never want to leave a full backup on the site for any length of time. Even though this is outside the public HTML directory, I don't recommend keeping it. So after you're finished with the backup, you make sure your site's going good and stuff, then delete it. And just skip the trash and make sure it's gone, because that's another way I've seen sites that have been penetrated is they'll actually have a backup inside their public HTML, which if someone knows what they're doing, they can go find that and really wreak havoc on your site. So don't leave any compressed zip backups inside your home directory. I know plugins such as Backup Buddy will actually back up your site and leave a copy of it on the server in the public HTML. I don't recommend it. I don't recommend leaving any backup files inside of here, because if it can be accessed from the web, someone could potentially download that file, get your database passwords and stuff, and then it's all downhill from there, because they'll start carrying out attacks and stuff. So you never want to leave any backup in your public HTML directory, because those contain sensitive files. So you want to make sure you get those off as well. So that's how you recover from a hack. I know there's many different ways and a lot of information in this tutorial, so that's why I wanted to do it in a video, so you could go through it step by step. You can pause and kind of jump around if you need to, but that's how you recover from it. And it's not always the easiest thing. In our support team, they can kind of advise you to what needs to be cleaned up. But I just ask that you have some patience. I know it's very frustrating when this happens. Trust me, no one wants to see this happen. And I think it's a shame that there's people in this world that want to do that. But the fact of the matter is that there is, and they're going to do it. They're going to try. So you first off want to be proactive, and then if you don't keep things updated and your credentials are not strong and this happens, just kind of take a breather. Take a deep breath, and we'll get through it, and we'll help you get through it. But there is a process that you do have to follow. And of course, if you don't even want to mess with it, our team will do it. We'll take a look at it. We'll send it to a supervisor. They'll get the approval. They'll send you an invoice. You can make your payment, and then they'll get fast to work on it. And we always ask to allow us at least 48 hours to complete these rebuilds, and maybe even longer depending on how big the account is. But that's how you recover from a WordPress hack. Again, it's never a fun thing to go through, but it is a thing that does happen. So the best thing to do is try to prevent it, but if not, there is definitely options. I know there's some other web hosts in the industry that will just simply suspend your account, and they'll say, well, your site was hacked, I need you to fix it. And then they unsuspend it, and you're like, well, what am I supposed to do? So the purpose of this video is to kind of explaining step by step what you should do and how you go about it. And I'm also going to make a blog post with a bunch of resources to how to prevent this stuff in the first place, but then give you some more resources what to do if this does happen to you. So thanks so much for using Name Hero. It's our pleasure to be your high-speed WordPress cloud web host. We look forward to an even stronger partnership with you and hosting and powering your website into the future. Thanks so much, everyone.